going to talk about Advent. You probably know that the word Advent means coming or arrival. Well, who's coming and what kind of arrival? I like to think of Advent as a time for the 3 M's: memory, mystery, and majesty. Let's look at the first M, memory. During the first part of Advent, we look at many of the people and events that were leading up to the coming of the Messiah. And I just happen to have the church's scrapbook with me. Let's see if you know who all these people are that led up to the time of the Messiah. You probably can see here a garden and a man and a woman. Do you know who that is? Yes, you do. It's Adam and Eve. Here's a boat, and there are animals coming out. Can you guess who that is? Noah in his ark. This gentleman is coming down from a mountain, and he's holding 2 tablets of stone. On it are written the commandments. I know you know who this is. This is Moses coming down from Mount Sinai. And we'll skip a couple hundred years or more, and we come to a carpenter shop. This man, yes, you're right, this is Saint Joseph. And the person who leads most of all to the coming of the Messiah, of course, is Jesus' mother, Mary. And then, of course, we've got a talking page. Baby Jesus is crying. So that's memory. We start there. But you know what? What's much more important in a way is majesty. Now, how many of you got up this morning and said, today might be the end of the world? Well, maybe you were hoping that if you had a terrible science test coming up. But most of us don't think of the fact that there will be a second coming of Jesus, that there will be an end of the world. And so that incarnation that we sometimes associate with the birth of Jesus and coming in Bethlehem, that's certainly a part of the incarnation. But you know, God has so much love that he had to share. And so he came up with the idea of, let's make a universe. And in a way, that beginning of the universe that you read in the book of Genesis, or you hear about in the Big Bang in science class, that sort of is like the coming of God. That sort of is like starting the incarnation. And when will the incarnation end? It didn't end just with Jesus being born in Bethlehem and dying and rising for us. It's ongoing. God wants to be so involved in the universe that God is somehow wrapped up in every human being, every animal, every plant. And when there's so much love in the world and there's total unity and God is completely wrapped up in our universe, that is the second coming, when Jesus will come again in majesty. Well, what about mystery? God can come into our lives in many mysterious ways. Just think over the past week or two. How have you encountered God? Maybe very directly in receiving Holy Communion or listening to his word in a homily or a religion class. But certainly many other ways. Maybe you saw a beautiful sunset. Maybe it was the awe of a first snowstorm. All of these things can help us get in touch with God. But not only do other people and events help us get in touch with God in a mysterious way, you also bring God to others. Think of all the times you gave money to the poor. God came to them through you. Think of all the times that maybe in class you cooperated. God came more fully into that classroom because of you. Think of the things you did with your family or in your neighborhood. Maybe raked leaves or shoveled snow without being asked to do that. That was God coming mysteriously in their lives. Maybe they were praying for you to be someone that would help them. And so we look at memory, mystery, and majesty. Now, you in kindergarten and preschool, I bet you know the sound of M. Does it sound like mm? Some people say mm, mm, mm when they have something very good. And that reminds us, Advent is the time for good things. So go out and do all kinds of good deeds for the Lord.